Hey everybody, this is Dan Buffa, and we are going to be discussing the Cardinals, the St. Louis Cardinals. Are they going to be sold? Is somebody going to buy them? Was there an article last week saying that somebody might buy them? Hope you had a good weekend. If you don't know me by now, gosh, if you don't know me, good for you. If you do, hey, what's going on? I've been writing on the internet for 15 years. And before that, it was long email blasts to my friends who half of them probably didn't even want to get it. Punctuation was terrible. Everything was bad. And then throughout the last 10 years, as I see flies outside, that's what can happen here in St. Louis, folks. It can be 15 degrees, 20 degrees, and then I can look out my car and there's a bunch of gnats flying around. That's St. Louis in a nutshell. 48 to 72 hours, weather changes. But after the launch and the email blast and the Dose of Buffa website, I went on to KSTK and St. Louis Game Time, and I appreciate all the reads and the watches and the support. There's a lot out there right now. I think when I started, there was a lot in 2011, but now in 2026, man, it is just a packed landscape, a canvas of all kinds of writers and content producers. And hey, if you can do it, you can do it. If people want to laugh at content producers, that's what I'm doing right now. That's what anybody does when they post an article or post a podcast. It's what it is. People don't like the phrase. It's like they don't like, I wrote a column. They want to say article instead of column. It's a column. It was like this. But anyway, the big topic around the Cardinals, other than the fact that Chaim Bloom, the president of baseball operations, is making a lot of moves, cutting a lot of old players' salary. Wilson Contreras, Nolan Arenado, Sonny Gray, kind of an asset like Brendan Donovan, they're all gone. Steven Matz, Ryan Maton, all these guys are gone. Phil Maton, not Ryan Phaeton, but he's done a lot of work since he's been kind of in charge. But the bigger topic is that a gentleman by the name of David Hoffmann, a St. Louis native and someone who just bought the Pittsburgh Penguins, like it's just going through right now. There was an article in the St. Louis Business Journal last week about him being interested in buying a baseball team. And his number one baseball team that he'd like to purchase are the St. Louis Cardinals. Because you know why? The Cardinals are the shit when it comes to historical franchises and prestige and class. You're not going to be able to buy the Dodgers right now. They were sold recently. That would cost about $1 bajillion. The Yankees aren't going to be changing ownership. So the next third one, if you're a guy looking into franchises, maybe the Red Sox, but the Cardinals are right there too in the top 5 of what you want to purchase. And it's been a popular question before David Hoffmann really threw his hat in the ring for ownership, a purchase of the ownership, because that was the topic at the winter warm-up. People were asking Bill DeWitt Jr., the majority owner of the St. Louis Cardinals, because it's over the last year, and as the Cardinals go through a rebuild, that is usually when people can kind of, think that the owner is going to be changing, he's moving on. And Bill DeWitt Jr. is getting old. That's why his son, Bill DeWitt III, is kind of taking over ownership spokesperson duties. Like when there's a trade or there's a new season, it's Bill III who's going to be doing that. Being that I've known the guy since '96, Bill III, when he first moved into my neighborhood, and his first job when his dad bought the team was improving the logos. Like that little Sunday cap logo was created by Bill DeWitt III. That's where he started in merchandise. So it isn't like he just got to be this position by anything. He worked his way up, even though being the owner's son. And so having said that, Bill DeWitt Jr. said at the warm-up that, no, we're not selling. We are invested. We are interested. We still want to be the owners of the Cardinals. Paraphrasing, he's like, Bill DeWitt Jr.'s voice. Oh, we're not going anywhere. We're going to stay right here. But yeah, that's just. But Hoffmann has said that he wants the sale of the Penguins. I keep wanting to say the Steelers, but those aren't being bought by anybody either. He wants the sale of the Penguins to go through completely. That means he wants to pay it off. He's smart. You don't like, buy a house and then buy another house, pay one house off, and then you go to the other one. So that will take about 2 years. So maybe in 2 years, when he's ready to purchase, I'm sure he will put a call in to Bill DeWitt Jr. and, take a little hint of his interest now, which may not be, there's a lot of this stuff we're not going to know about, these negotiations. We'll only know if they said no emphatically or if they said yes or if it's a maybe. So this is going to be kind of a waiting game, but we do know that David Hoffmann, a local guy who has just recently bought the Penguins, is interested in the number one team for a baseball team, or the Cardinals. And I think if in a year and a half to 2 years, and he comes back to Bill DeWitt, and the Cardinals, let's just say they're getting better, but they're not like ready to contend for the division. Like they're kind of rising up out of the basement. Maybe they overperform projections the next 2 years, but let's just say they're nearing serious playoff contention in like the 26 to 27, the 28th season. And DeWitt Jr.'s thoughts are different. You just never know. So right now, if David Hoffmann calls, I think the answer is going to be no, unless he just blows them away with an offer. You make him an offer he can't refuse. I don't think that's going to be the case, but I'm sure he's going to stay interested. He knows the Cardinals are going through a rebuild. He knows when to ask, and he also has his own business with the Penguins to finish up. So I wouldn't put a lot of energy towards that right now. If we hear about it again, we've already heard the articles saying he has interest. And they came from everywhere because the Business Journal wrote it, and then the Post-Dispatch, and then everybody's writing. KMOV, KSTK, K of the VOWE, or whatever the heck. They all wrote about it. So we all have the news. I don't think anything's going to move on this front, since Hoffmann himself is tied up in finishing off the Penguins sale, and how DeWitt just recently said, we're not for sale. And of course it can change. I mean, John Mozeliak used to say, oh, we're not trading him. And then the guy was traded 2 days later. A lot of times these businessmen, they keep this stuff close to the chest. They don't really let anything go. And so I wouldn't put a lot of energy towards it right now. In my semi-humble, medium hot take opinion, I would just kind of wait for more news on it. I wouldn't be thinking, oh man, they're going to be sold. What's Hoffmann? Is he going to start spending money? No. I mean, the Cardinals are a mid-market team. Maybe on the higher end due to their prestigious status as one of the most storied franchises in baseball, but they're never going to be a Yankees or a Dodgers. It's just not. They're not going to do that. Luxury tax and the way that our market is located, it's not going to happen. They're going to have to. I mean, what they're doing right now goes completely against that. Like Bill DeWitt Jr. is going to go, or David Hoffman's going to walk in 2 years and go, okay, Chaim Bloom, here's $100 million. He might. The payroll might go up if that happened. But until anything really moves on that front, I'm going to just say don't worry about it. Worry more about how you're going to watch Cardinals baseball. Because now that FanDuel's out and they couldn't pay their bills, that's what happens. And now MLB is kind of taking ownership of the Cardinals broadcast. I don't know how much that's going to cost. I don't know how blackouts are going to affect it. For a guy who doesn't watch as much baseball, I like to write opinions on it, but I don't really dish on it that much anymore. I can say that, just be patient and figure out if that price is worth you wanting to watch the team. This is going to be, as Bernie Miklasz said, the second youngest team in baseball this coming season. They have aged down pretty quickly when you get rid of older ball players. Like you get rid of 3 ball players in their 30s and one in Brendan Donovan who's about ready to be 30 next year. So it's a young team. It's the time to kind of get in at the ground floor, but if the price of that subscription is ridiculous, listen on the radio. John Rooney, yeah, it's a goner, you know what I mean? So lots happening. It's spring training here in what seems like a minute. The spring training games will be firing up in 3 weeks. And then from there, about a month after that, the regular season fires up, and then they are off. And you know how baseball is. Unlike hockey and basketball and football, they play a lot. And the season's going to start aging quickly, and we're going to get to see what players are here for the long term, which ones are pretenders. What Cardinal roster members are contenders, which ones are pretenders. We will see. But as far as the sale of the team, that's years away, if anything. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to that unless Bill DeWitt Jr.'s tune just completely changes. And I don't think it's going to happen. I think this team, as much history as the Cardinals, as the DeWitt family has with the Cardinals, and I mean, in DeWitt III's office, he has Gas House Gang memorabilia. He has all that. They love the history of the franchise, and I think they could be a great fit with Bloom. So I don't see him going anywhere, but you never know when somebody puts a bunch of zeros in front of you. So until then, be good. This is just a short little blast. You know, guys like Bernie and everybody else doing 25 to 30 minutes, man. I got to get back to pickup plumbing. So a little bit over 10 minutes. Wanted to dish on the Cardinals a little bit. Hope you have a good Monday. Understand the Monday blues die because once the clock's going, Monday is dying. So it's not going to last forever. Hang in there. Be good. Think of something happy. Think of someone who makes you happy. And if there's nobody to make you happy, well, damn it, go out and meet people. All right. Be good. And I appreciate your kindness and your watches and your responses and everything else. See ya.